Dental Reach, made with love for dentist by dentist. Supported by Group Pharmaceuticals. This event is sponsored by M&M Dental Associates and Pulp Dent USA.
A warm welcome to all of you wonderful clinicians who have taken the time out to be with us today. I can assure you that the next hour or so is going to be a positive step forward in rejuvenating your communication with your patients. I always believe that a journey filled with passion and purpose is an enriching and living, fulfilling journey. And I'm saying that with experience of the last 25 years of our existence with passion and purpose, as an M&M Dental completes its silver anniversary in the Indian dental industry. The logical question at this threshold is what next? And to me, the answer was very, very clear. More passion and more purpose. But also the ability to reach out to more people, more clinicians in this lovely Indian dental industry. How are we planning to do that? Our thought was to make small changes within the clinics that will have a better and bigger impact on outcomes given out to the patients. I think that is the journey we envision for ourselves for the next 25 years. And in our entire repertoire of products that we represent, from Philips, from Cosmident, from our latest Adent, and our initial partner, Pulpdent USA, we've chosen the one product we feel that will take us on this wonderful journey ahead, and that is the Activa Pronto. This is brought to you by the family, from the family of Activa Bioactive Restorative Materials from Pulpdent. This new composite on the block is intuitive, it is mineral enriched, and we genuinely believe that it can be used in various cases in almost every practice in our country, and will definitely give you better outcomes in your direct restoration cases in your practice. So in this whole journey, what is today's session about, and what is Dr. Anisa doing in the middle of all of this? Very exciting story. So in my own journey of keeping myself abreast, I've done a lot of boot camps, and I came across Dr. Anisa's case program that was looking at social media from a dentist's point of view, and I thought that was very interesting. So I joined the first program, and boy, every program thereafter, and I've done 4 in the last 1 year, has been full of challenges that she dishes out that makes the whole program enriching, makes the program interesting, full of surprises, and has wonderful awards built in as yet. And that got me to thinking, why not we also do something that we can engage with our dentist audience. And we came up with working with the Dental Reach platform to bring a very unique program called the Pronto Aesthetic Challenge to the Indian dentists. Now, while this challenge, the doctors could apply to join in the program as a challenger. We would give out samples to the doctors, and then together as a community, they would work in their clinics on cases. We would showcase these cases in a Facebook closed group, and the dental community, along with us together, would discuss the material, would discuss the cases, and learn together and grow together to bring better outcomes in practices. So that's the cake, right? You have your material, you have the dentist, you have the cases, you have the discussion. Where's the icing? The icing lies in us being able to communicate effectively to our patients. Everything new and exciting done in our practice, especially Pronto, should be discussed with your patients. How you discuss it is your creativity, and that's where we need a little bit of a nudge. Again, I cannot think of a better social media marketing creative person than Dr. Anisa, and I'm so happy that she has given us this time, and I look forward to this session, my fifth, as interestingly as all of you out there. I now request Dr. Zainab to give a short introduction, and then we shall go right into the program. Dr. Zainab?
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Mala. As we all know, a clear communication is the key to happy patient, and a happy patient is more likely to refer his friends and his family to your practice. We all know very well that the dental school curriculum mainly focuses on the clinical know-how of dentistry, and effective strategies for better patient communication they are totally neglected. So here we bring to you a session by the famous social dentist, Dr. Anisa Patel Sheikh, who will talk about a few tips and tricks on how to effectively communicate the content to your patients via social media. Dr. Anisa has done her master's in dental business from the DBM Academy, United Kingdom. She is a certified digital marketing and social media marketing expert and also a certified storyteller. She is extremely passionate about the topic of marketing, branding, and social media in dentistry. She has several lectures and publications to her name. She has been a keynote speaker at various conferences, including the prestigious World Dental Show, International Leadership Congress, and the Feminine Show, to name a few. So, the winner of the most promising upcoming marketing genius of the year, handing over the session to you, Dr. Anisa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab, and my good friend Mala for that lovely, lovely introduction. This is Anisa, a dentist by profession and a marketer and a storyteller by heart, here in front of you. I'm really happy to be here, and it's been more of a journey of networking, collaborations, and knowing people in my journey, which has led from one thing to another. And I find myself here in a part of this challenge, which just happened because of the way I found few people on my journey, and I've been just following my heart and my passion. So today in this challenge, I think Mala has already explained what has been happening. It's a very interesting campaign that we are doing. It's happening on the Dental Reach platform along with the team of Dr. Roxanne and Mala Malik of Dental. It's a very innovative way of actually getting the word out for a very unique product in the market, which is Activa Pronto. And we have had sessions about the product, the material science, how to actually document the cases, how to do the photography. And today, I'm going to be talking about a bit of the non-clinical aspect as to how we actually spread the word out, because we might be very good with our clinical skills, but if there is no patient on the chair, there cannot be any dentistry. And so let's see today in this presentation how to actually use the power of content and storytelling to actually get the word out and authentically put ourselves and our brand on social media and on digital media so that we attract the right kind of patients to our dental practices. So with that little bit of backdrop, let me start sharing the screen. And I welcome you all in this and appreciate all the people who are watching this live. If you are having any queries, I'd like to get to that at the end of the presentation. Please do put it in the comment section and we will be more than happy to answer. So let me start sharing the screen now. By the time I share the screen, if there is anything, please put it in the comments. Okay. Well, I believe the screen is visible. If someone can put that in the comments, it would be great. Yeah, I think it's seen. Okay, great. So we all know that it's been over a year and a half that the world has changed, especially post-pandemic. And we have been communicating in a way that we have never done before. I think every single person, right from the youngest person to the oldest, has seen this massive shift in the way we are communicating. It's been I think the second consecutive year where the kids have been in an online school, and we don't know when things will be back to normal. And this looks like the new normal. So that said, we are humans and we are the creatures of habit. And they say it takes 66 days for a habit to form. Well, we are almost a year and a half. And to say the least, we have changed in the way we communicate. And for us, it is more, for a lot of people, actually, it's natural to communicate through a screen rather than to actually call a person. So I have had many people who prefer a text message to a call. And I'm sure there are many people out here watching this presentation and agreeing to this. Right. So we know that the way we communicate has shifted. And so what was initially the word of mouth is actually now the new word of mouth, which is online, which is the word of mouth. And the way we communicate has changed. We have seen that there was an era where there was the only way of communicating years ago was the newspaper, right? Years ago. That's how the information was spread. And people communicated. If they wanted to get something out, they would use the print media, right? And then came the TV complex. We all have grown. The people who have been in the 70s and the 80s will agree that we had our favorite set of ads, which we used to love watching on TV. And that time we hardly had so many channels. We just had few channels. And that time, it was the time of the TV complex. And the way the brands used to be made, or the way any product or service was marketed, was primarily through the TV complex. And then came, of course, in between was a radio. But then something happened. There was the internet revolution and the social media revolution. And then the way the marketing changed, the medium changed. So, well, the story, what has changed is the medium. And today we need to understand that since the medium has changed, if we do not get on the new medium, and if we do not know how to communicate on this new medium, then it's very difficult to thrive as a dental business, or for that matter, any business. So what we saw as TV now is actually the new YouTube, the Instagram, IGTV, and the Facebook Live. So right now, I'm sure a lot of you people are watching this presentation on Facebook Live. And that's exactly how we communicate. So a lot of you people, I'm sure, have stopped subscribing to the local cable TV and are no more even watching TV. Maybe people are just watching YouTube. So that's the way we have shifted. And so what is marketing? Marketing is nothing but relationship building. It's being able to authentically tell the story of transformation to your audience in a compelling enough way that they do the thing that you want them to do, as opposed to advertisement where you actually shout about what you are. So that's the way marketing is different from advertisement. And if you go to see, we are a dental business is actually based on trust, right? Nobody will actually allow you to touch something as intimate as the mouth if they do not know, like, trust you, if they do not have a trust with you, they are not going to allow you to work into their mouths. That's just the way it is. I'm sure all of you dentists who are watching this will agree that the word of mouth has been and will be the strongest form of marketing as far as dentistry is concerned. The only thing is that now the medium has shifted, and the word of mouth or the online is the new word of mouth. And so if we really know how to talk and communicate to our patients in this medium, we will be able to authentically put ourselves and our services out there so that we are able to serve the community and serve our patients in a better way. So as I said, it's now the word of mouth. And in dentistry, we all will agree that word of mouth is and will always be the strongest form of communication. But because of the way the digital revolution has happened, it's now the word of mouth, especially post-pandemic. And so, as the famous Seth Godin says, marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, it's about the stories that you sell. And I, being a storyteller, I'm a very big proponent of actually using correct storytelling to actually put yourself out there so that people connect emotionally to you and your brand. And so they would want to have that connection. And ultimately, connection builds relationships, and relationships are built on trust, and trust drives sales. We all know that. So a lot of people ask me, why do you call yourself the social dentist? And so before, I just thought I'll just give a brief about my journey. So I was never like this. I was a very shy introvert student in my college life. That's me here in the center. Okay, that's a picture of my second BDS. I never actually ever spoke much on stage or anything. I used to be those typical studious bookworms sitting on the first bench and making notes. That was me. I never thought I will actually do any kind of public speaking or any keynote speaking or do any kind of the things which I'm doing right now. But I always I had that little bit of creativity in me, but it never got any channel. And it was always there somewhere at the backdrop. Got married, and 10 years happened, kids happened. Of course, I started doing clinical dentistry. In clinical dentistry, I used to love doing pediatric dentistry because that was the part of dentistry which really, gave me a platform to put my creativity into action. And I realized that I liked the behavior management part best of the pediatric dentistry. And I used to get into very creative ways of getting the kids to do the treatment. I used to do a little bit of designing of posters, brochures, and a lot of creative things in my clinic. But that was just a one-off thing. Then somewhere in 2007 and 8, I had put up a small stall in Famden because one of my friends, good friends, Dr. Ajay Bajaj, who now I think many people know, he is the owner of Bombay Dental and Surgical. He put up a stall in Famden, and I still remember he had said that, why don't you come and put up your posters? They're really good. And at that time, I was just learning a bit of a Photoshop and Corel just for, just as a hobby. I was doing it because I liked it. And that was my first ever stint with any kind of thing which was remotely related to marketing. I was not really sure about my interest, but that was my first ever exposure to anything which was related to the marketing world. And that was a big hit. Those posters sold like hotcakes back in 2007 and 8. But I didn't really do anything out of it. It was a one-off event, and then again life took over, and that thing of doing something creative was always there. I did a lot of crazy stuff in between. Went and did some storytelling courses, and just had done a few plays and stuff. And I was not sure. Also during this time, I always wanted to do my master's, but I never got to do. I got married instead, and I became a dental surgeon. But they say that when you really want to do something, the whole universe comes together. And I was, of course, doing pediatric dentistry. I did a lot of courses, clinical courses of pediatric dentistry, and I even got awarded for that. But I always wanted to do my master's. And so they say that the universe actually comes together when you really want something. And it was my good friend, Dr. Aslam Inamdar, who had done this course by Dr. Manish. In 2015, he had done it. And that time, my younger one was just born, and so I didn't want to do the course at that time, but I wanted to do this. And so in 2017 I got on this course, and that was my formal training in anything which is related to the business side of dentistry, with practice management and marketing and stuff like that. And from there on, the journey began. And the past 3-4 years has been the past 3 years rather has been an amazing journey, and I have learned a lot, met a lot of new people on the way, and that's how I've got into marketing, and that's how this name comes. So when I wanted to make a new name for my, this profile, I wanted to do away with my surname because there was a lot of confusion around that. And so I actually tried to put your social dentist, and that's how the name comes. So I get a lot of questions on Facebook Messenger where people ask me, what is this social dentist? And so I thought I'll just tell that on this live today. So, well, that's my journey. And then they say, the whole universe comes together. So I did a lot of programs. Luckily, was very lucky to be invited at a lot of places to do a lot of keynotes, and I was teaching, learning, as well as implementing and getting the results, and seeing the power of social media to actually get patients and actually have the kind of conversions for my own clinic, as well as for the people I was sharing my knowledge with. So yeah, that's my journey in short. And the picture on the left is actually just before the COVID started, and that was on last year on International Women's Day. That was my first offline program with Dr. Aarti and her academy. And then in March, this was on 8th March, and we know that around 20th March the world changed, and that's when the lockdown happened, and there was a long period of lockdown. And that's when I actually got the time to work on my side hustle. And then I did a lot of programs, and then ever since, this has been one of my integral parts of what I do. So currently I do 3 days of clinical dentistry and 3 days of coaching, training, consulting, and also management, freelance social media management. So that's about me. And I was lucky to get associated with few things. And one of the things which really helped me was one of these programs which I did, which was the fundraiser, which was the bounce back program, which got in a lot of good things. And that's the time I realized that when you actually give with an open heart and without expecting anything in return, that's the time you really the universe gives you back. And so that has been, in short, my journey. And all I learned along my journey is that not everyone can be famous. There are a lot of people who are introverts like me, but if you follow your passion and if you are ready to put in the work, then you can be you can actually authentically put yourself out there and be of service to people. Because when you add significance to your service, that's when success comes to you. So this was in short about me, and I know now you guys are waiting to hear about the clinical tips. So let's see the advantage of actually correctly using social media. So before we get into it, what is the ROI? I get a lot of people, they are very skeptical initially when they understand about this whole thing of social media marketing, storytelling, content marketing. What is the ROI? What is the return on investment, right? So most of the times when you do organic branding and organic storytelling and marketing, there is really not a really great, or there's not a really tangible, measurable ROI, which you can really measure in terms of website clicks and stuff like that. But what I say is that the way you get results in the marketing world, also when you do your offline marketing, I always ask the people, what is the ROI of the hello which you tell people when you meet them on your way? So for example, every day you are traveling and you're in the lift with that one person, and you are exchanging hellos and small talk, right? And that happens for weeks and then months, and then eventually that small talk leads to you people talking about what you do, and then ultimately that person comes one day at your clinic, or you go to their business, and that's how these things happen. You and me know that that's how the relationships are built in the real world, and that's exactly how the ROI of this thing works on social media. So if you're using social media to only broadcast yourself, to tell how great you are without adding value in people's life, then there will not be any ROI. But if you're using social media to build connections, to build relationships, to build collaborations, and to authentically add value, then I promise you, social media works for you. Okay. So I love this slide and I always put it in every presentation of mine because this is actually the crux of marketing and sales. And you really, if marketing is if sales is the marriage, then marketing is the affair, right? You really cannot have a sale if your marketing is not in place. So you really need to have the affair, the connection with your audience before you ask for a sale. And this is a very simple way of explaining the concept of marketing and sales, right? So we know that it's changed now in the post-COVID world. And so let us see what are the do's and don'ts when we use social media, right? So you need to be showing leadership. You need to show empathy, especially in the case of a pandemic kind of a situation. I know things are easing out, but then there are cases. It has given us an excellent opportunity to become a thought leader, to become the go-to dentist in our community. I'm sure that a lot of people will agree that it has given us the platform to have these kind of online collaborations. I myself, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this will agree that COVID has given us the opportunity to make a lot of online collaborations and develop connections in a way that we never realized that the digital medium can give us. And solving the pain point of the people actually is the most important thing here. So your content has to revolve around the pain point of the end consumer and how your product or service can solve that problem, right? And you, of course, need to show up for your audience. And as far as any kind of marketing is concerned, of course, relentless and consistency, being relentless and being consistent is one of the most important things. And I cannot stress this enough. Of course, everybody likes people who are authentic and honest. And that's one of the biggest tips. If you want to take one tip which will be out of this presentation, then it's that: be authentic, be honest. Because trust me, even if people are seeing you through the screen, they can literally see through you, right? And so today more than ever, with so much of noise on social media and on the digital medium, people are tired of the picture perfect and the plastic look, and the look of everything being perfect, everything being tip top before it's actually portrayed. And so a little bit of honesty, I'm sure not little bit, 100% honesty and authenticity always wins at social media. So make sure that you put yourself and your practice authentically out there, and also show them why your practice is the safest place to get treated. And so these are some of the tips which I have listed. As I already said, do not use social media to sell. So if you're talking about content, then 80% content has to be adding value, and only 10 or 20% has to be promotional. So that is the ratio. What we see most of the times is that the ratio is reversed, and then obviously you're not going to get any result and any ROI on social media, right? What people do is they put these discounts, coupons, and all of that, and they put the clinic flyer, and then they think that they have put it, and they expect that the agency is going to give them a result. Because most important thing what they haven't given the agency is the content and the copywriting and the storytelling and the culture of the practice. And because the agency is not from a dental background, what happens is they are not going to be able to put the correct copy and the correct tone and voice of the brand, and so it fails, right? Also, do not send promotional or automated messages to patients, especially when it's a pandemic kind of situation. And really, it's all about the human connection. And so nothing against automated messages, but we know that when the phone rings, and if it's a voice message automated which is talking, we hang up in the next few seconds, right? And so when you have a chance to actually authentically connect with your patients, you use that rather than always using some kind of automated way of replying, right? So because the way the information overwhelm is currently, because it's free. Okay, because social media is free. Well, it's really not free, because your time, which is the biggest asset, is getting used, right? People are spending hours and hours on social media, so it's really not free. But uh, because it's free, in a sense that it's free, you don't have to pay for it, there is a lot of noise out there. And so it's very difficult to catch somebody's attention in an information overloaded world. And so only humans speaking to humans connects. And that is why authentically connecting to your patients is very, very important. So let's see how does social media work, and how can we use this channel to actually get the patients, and put our message in such a way that it resonates with the right people, so that the right people come to our practice. Well, so as far as the content itself is concerned, the content, I think I can't stress it enough, right? The content is king. It's very, very important. And if you're not using the correct content and the correct tone and the brand voice, it's going to fall flat. So when you put the content, make sure that you follow the content rule, which is nothing but 80% of patient stories. So what is it? Let it be about the patient. What is it? And we'll see some examples once we go through these points. We'll see some examples of this post where this is used well. So your content has to be 80% patient stories, 15% team stories. By team stories, what do I mean? Team stories could be your team celebrations, team birthdays, behind the scenes of the team training. All of this comes in the team training. And patient stories is the testimonials, the selfies with the patient, the procedure videos that you do, some casual conversation that you've had with the patient, something which has happened in your practice, which was to do with a particular case, okay, and the story behind that case, basically. Then the team stories, as I already mentioned, it could be the team birthdays, team celebrations, and stuff like that. And only 5% has to be the tip of the day infographic and all these kind of content, right? So your content plays a huge role. And when you talk about the content, make sure that it's patient centric, because at the end of the day, nobody is interested, trust me, nobody is interested in how many awards you got, and which VIP international lodge you travel by, right? People are only and only interested in what is in it for me, right? And so if you can explain with the help of your social media creatives and your content, what is the end use of that piece of content to the patient? Are you giving value in the form of education, entertainment, and inspiration? Media gives you the ability to go informal and to be in a conversational style with your patients, which not other mediums give you. So especially mediums like Facebook and Instagram. On LinkedIn, you want to be more professional, but on channels like Facebook and Instagram, you can definitely be very casual. Especially Instagram gives you an option where you can really go very casual, especially with the Instagram reels, right? And of course, you need to show the culture of your practice. You need to connect with your patients. And the most important thing over here is the last C, which is nothing but consistency. Make sure that you are consistent, whether you're posting twice a week or thrice a week or every week. Make sure that you are posting consistently. Now, let's see some examples of the post. Now, I like this particular post because it really combines all the 6 C's. If you see, is the content entertaining? Is it informative? It's inspiring. It's funny. Look at the patient's face. They are talking about the intraoral scanner and how the patient can get rid of impressions. There is no picture of the doctor showing off her intraoral scanner, which most of us do. There is the benefit or the pain point of the patient is getting solved. They are getting rid of the messy impressions, and that is exactly what is portrayed in this post. They have also linked it to the blog post, which explains the details of the scanner, if you see. And of course, it is very conversational. It's asking an open-ended question. Do you like impressions? We don't think so. And so this is a beautiful example where all the 6 C's are beautifully combined so that uh, it really resonates with the patients. It's conversational style, and at the same time it positions the office as an office which is updated with the latest in terms of technology and equipment. So let's see, before we see some examples, I would really want you all dentists to actually tell me, imagine that there is a your favorite baby shampoo or a baby powder, and on that brand on the left is a picture of a healthy child. Would you prefer to see that picture on that baby bottle shampoo or powder, or would you prefer to see the picture on the right? Okay, now unless you are a gynac who has just did her first C-section, okay, I'm sure all of you are going to say the picture on the left. And this is exactly what the patient feels when we put out very proudly the pictures of our implant cases, and all the before afters which we put sometimes with the intraoperative pictures. They might exhibit amazing surgical skills, but you would be better off posting these kind of pictures inside of groups which are only meant for dentists, where they will be able to appreciate your clinical and surgical skills, rather than putting these kind of pictures out on social media for your patients. Because what you feel right now by looking at that picture on the right, that's exactly how your patient feels when they see that beautiful implant which you think is very beautiful, but that is how they feel, right? And again, so you might feel that you have done an amazing sinus lift procedure, but that somehow, if you ask a general public, they would want to see the end outcome. So you need to talk about the end emotional outcome, which is going to be beneficial to the patients. So they are going to go with a confident and happy smile, which will help them eat better, smile better, and be more confident about themselves. They are seeking a better quality of life, and that is what you want to portray in your storytelling, in your social media post. So you need to understand where to put what kind of pictures. And this is, if there's this one message I want you to take back, remember that when you're even putting out cases, leave out the details for the dental groups wherein there are dentists. But as when you're putting pictures out on your pages where the patients are going to watch it, make sure that you restrict yourself to a simple before and a simple after picture and a full face picture of the treatment which you have done. So you would be better off with these kind of pictures where you're showing the full face pictures of the patient and the before after, rather than getting into the gory details of how you got it. There's nothing against showing off your clinical skills, but understand that to the layman, they just do not resonate. Okay. Also, if you can get the message out about the emotional difference that your treatment can make, then that really helps you change the perception of dentistry, as well as gives you that emotional connect with your patients. So sometimes patients are so happy looking at the end result that they are in tears, and this picture says it all, right? So these are some of the examples of the things that we have done. These are some of the old slides, but connecting through Facebook Live is again one of the very good ways of connecting to your patients, because the Facebook algorithm is such that it prefers the live stream. And if it's possible to get on the camera, even if it's impromptu, make sure that you can do at least once in a month or twice in a month some kind of a live stream or video on your pages. If you can partner with local businesses in your community and do some kind of a giveaway, then that is again very beneficial. So if you see right now in this program, what me and Mala have done as a part of this campaign is we've actually collaborated with different mentors and different people in dentistry itself, the target audience being dentist, and that's how exactly this Activa Pronto is being done. So the whole idea is to get the people involved, to have a collaborations, to have those connections, and to make sure that whatever your target audience is wanting and what they find of value, that is what you give them apart from your core product or service, right? And so when we had this pandemic, we did do things which were not really directly related to dentistry, but it added a lot of value. So that time the mothers were getting frustrated because the kids were at home. We did some activity kind of Facebook lives where we called some people from the storytelling world and some kids activities, and we did these kind of things. So some fun things. Also people were very much emotionally affected, and so we had called some mental health experts and some orthopedics to actually give some tips on that. So find out what is the problem of your target audience, and if you through your content and your stories can solve that problem, then I promise you social media starts working for you. So sometimes entertainment also does extremely well, and I had tried some entertaining videos and it really worked well. Again, these are examples of team stories and how you can authentically put yourself and your team out there, so that, and if you're doing any community work, so that your patients understand you as a practice completely. What is your culture? What are you about? What's your why? What's your vision? What's your mission? All those things, if they can, if you can promote it through your content, then it really positions you as an authority and as a go-to dentist in the community. So all these kinds of things, these are the kind of posts which really resonate well. And so that's the kind of content which we want to do. These are some of the examples. This is the storytelling session which we have done. So try to be thinking a little bit out of the box. Try to be creative with your content, and try to understand your target audience. The most important thing is to understand the psychographic of your target audience. Of course, the demographic is important, but understanding the psychology of your audience really helps you to build your marketing campaigns as well as drive sales ultimately, right? And so one more thing which I'd really like to talk about is context. So content is king, but actually if you see in social media, context is the king. And so when I talk about context, what do I mean? There are two types of context. One is the context of the content itself. So if there is a time of the pandemic and if I'm just promoting myself, I'm completely out of context, because at that time people are just, people were just struggling to getting by with all the things happening around them and the finances and everything. And that was no time to promote your services. And so the context really matters. Also the context in terms of the context of the platform itself. So when you talk about the different social media platforms, each platform has its own language, has its own context, and has its own style. So Facebook is a platform where there is long form storytelling content works really well. But if you're on Instagram, then short reel videos, short behind the scene videos, visual content, that works better. If I'm on YouTube, I'm probably connected to a Wi-Fi connection and I'm looking long form videos. So that kind of content works well on YouTube. And if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm probably in a business frame of mind and I'm in no mood of listening to any long form storytelling post. I directly want to know what you're about and what business or service you are in. So make sure that you really modify the content according to the context of the platform. That is another thing. Also, Instagram, I already said it's a visual platform and you can get really creative and really quirky on Instagram because Instagram gives you that feel because it's a very casual platform. So if you want to do casual things, the best platform for you is in Instagram. Okay, so I'll be covering more of the Instagram on tomorrow in another Instagram live, which I'll be talking towards the end. But few tips about Instagram is make sure that you use the correct hashtags, make sure that you have a killer bio and stuff like that. Okay, so now we're almost towards the end. And how does social media work? So social media works when what you say you do. So what's your reality? What you say you do is your branding, and what you actually do is your reality. So if I say I'm doing pediatric dentistry, and if I'm doing general dentistry, then I'm not on sync. But if I'm doing that, and if I'm saying that as well, and if the testimonials, the top of the triangle is actually what the people say, and that's very important. So what are the testimonials saying? Then the social media starts working. And sometimes people don't know, and then I tell them, okay, go and check what your testimonials are saying, what your website is saying, and what you as a person like to do. And when everything is in sync, that's the time your social media and your brand voice starts working, right? So what are the key points of this presentation? Always add value, educate, entertain, inspire. Always use native micro content. Nobody wants to listen to long form content. People are very pressed for time. Be authentic, show your personality. Whenever possible, try to use personal branding, build relationship. There's no need to be perfect as long as you are you. I always say be unapologetically yourself. Don't create content, document it. What do I mean? So sometimes every time you do not sit and want to make content, you can very well document it. So if there is some sterilization procedure happening, just go and take a picture or take a video clip of that. If the bonding of veneers is happening, just go and ask your assistant to make a small 15-second clip of that. So you just need to document the content. Sometimes you need not every time think of creating the content, right? And of course, if your targeting is correct and if your creative is correct, when both the things are correct, so the heart of the content is your creative and the brain is your targeting. So when both the things are in alignment, that's the time that content becomes really perfect, right? And of course, what we are doing right now is live stream and future. And so if you're somebody who's extremely shy of the camera, then it's high time that you overcome that and get on the camera and get used to a Facebook Live or doing a live video or even a recorded video for that matter, right? What not to do: never sell on social media. Do not use it as a broadcasting tool. Do not put open wounds. I have stressed enough of that. Do not use anything without consent. Do not put same content on all channels. Another thing is very important is if somebody has been kind enough to comment on something, make sure that you actually respond back. Never buy likes and followers. And you can use personal branding for social media. We all know these are some of the cruise brands. I do have a lot of content on branding, but I think because of the time constraint, I will save it for another day. But just to give you a gist of the personal branding steps, start with a channel that you're most comfortable with, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. Polish all your social channels such that you have a homogeneous brand in terms of your name and bio. Post regularly on stories and make sure that it's an emotionally engaging content. And initially, do not go paid. I always say, before you think of paid marketing, get your organic in place. The reason is that your paid traffic will not convert if your organic and brand building is not in place. So the way this thing works is first the organic and the branding, then the organic marketing, and then comes the paid marketing. Okay. And as far as the content, I already said solution to people's problems. Try to see what the common questions people are searching for, right? So I get into this whole thing in a very detailed manner in a complete 1 month course wherein we do a very detailed. Every month there is a work to do and it's a 30-day challenge which I do. But just to give you an overview, this is how the content thing is done. And this is some of the examples of how you can actually use the correct pictures and build a correct bio and all of that. These are screenshots of some of the stories and all that we have done. You can go and check them out just to get an understanding about how casual and how storytelling can actually help you position yourself as an expert in your industry, right? And again, these are examples of few storytelling posts. This picture on the left is of a patient who was actually so happy after the treatment. She was singing, and we managed to actually take that picture, take a video of that singing, and it really connected well. So these are some of the examples of how you can use those moments which we miss. Many times we miss those moments in our practice because we are so involved with the clinical work that we really miss those moments. And so my advice to you, if you are hardcore into clinical dentistry, appoint somebody who is an associate or a staff member who's probably young and who loves using the mobile, okay, and make that person as the content collector and creator at your clinic, and make sure that that person is constantly pulling out content throughout the day. So taking pictures with the patient, asking them to take selfies, taking behind the scene pictures and all of that. If you can use that content correctly, trust me, you will really amplify your word of mouth. So these are some of the things that we've used in the form of stories. And I don't have the time to get into individual details of these posts, but if you want, you can check out there are 2 profiles on Facebook that I have. One is the Anisa Patel Sheikh, which is a clinical profile, and this is my coaching profile, which is in the name of Your Social Dentist. The target audience on both the profiles is different, and if you see, the content is absolutely different on both the profiles. So you will understand how it's the same person, but the way the content and the stories have been put are completely different, because the target audience is different, the goal is different, and that's exactly how the marketing and storytelling and organic brand building works, right? So again, also one more thing which I like to say before I end, user generated content is one of the best content as far as social media is concerned. So if I go and put a picture of me treating a patient is different, but if a patient herself goes and tags me and puts that picture, then that is a different kind of credibility, which gives you, and it puts you as a authority in your industry. So if you can get patients to actually you know take pictures and tag them, means of course you need to be so you need to wow them to such an extent that they love doing that. So make sure that you have at least some USP or wow factor in your clinic, which people would love to take a picture with and actually promote indirectly you on their socials, right? So that's it. Now putting it all together, how do you build a strategy? As I said, the medium has changed. So you try to understand your target audience, what it is that you do, how do you do it, and who is your target audience? How are you different? What is your differentiating factor? What is it that sets you apart from your competition? What is your superpower, right? And then what are your top 3 patient profiles and what are their pain points? How can you build that particular target audience avatar? We do this at length in the programs, but this is just to give you some pointers as to how you will think by getting into the shoes of your target audience, right? Which platforms are they using? Where are they most active? What is the demographics of these peoples? What is the interest? What is the psychographics of these people? What is the behavior of these people? What kind of mobile devices? What kind of operating systems are they using? What is your travel behavior and stuff like that? That also really helps you building your target audience. This information also helps if you're running paid ads. If you give this information to your agency, they will be able to do better targeting on the back end of Facebook if they are doing any kind of paid ads. Okay, so the strategy is to focus on one platform to build your target persona and your patient avatar, and then of course to make sure that your content starts working for you, so that your strategy starts fitting in the larger scheme of things as far as the marketing goes, right? So that is in a gist about it. Now if you want to take back a plan after this presentation, you want something wherein you immediately start doing something, then I would advise that you have these things in place. Make sure that you have a practice Facebook page and Instagram, a YouTube channel, and all of this, a blog, and all this in place, right? Before you start doing the content part, basically. And just to give you a heads up on the marketing budget, it's supposed to be around 5 to 7% of your gross annual income if you're planning any marketing budget. And these are some of the tools. If you want, you can take a picture of this. This is for content creation, for hashtag research and stuff like that. You can use these tools. Most of them are free. They do have some paid versions, and you can trial and see. So these are some of my favorite tools that I use. And of course, before I go, I just want to tell you that there were these 3 brands which we now no longer talk about, right? Kodak is out of the camera world. We do not Yahoo anything anymore. And I think nobody watching this is having a Nokia phone at the moment, right? Why did these big brands fail? And we all know Kodak was late to adapt to the digital cameras. Nokia was late to adapt to the touchscreen technology. And Yahoo, as a search engine, diversified and was more into ads rather than the search engine, right? And that's why these brands failed. These brands failed to adapt to the changing times, right? And so if big brands like this can fail, if they fail to adapt, what are you and me, my friends? So it's high time that we embrace this new normal of the way we are connecting through the screen. And the people who are actually going to embrace this change are the ones who are going to be winning, right? And out of the 2008 recession, these were some of the biggest brands which came out, okay? And so that almost brings me to the end of this presentation. There is a Facebook group where I connect regularly. You can join that. And before I close, I want to give this message out to you that sometimes we get sucked into notifications, and there is a world which is out of the online world. And make sure that you have a healthy mix of relationship building in the offline and the online world. Whenever you get a chance to have any offline connections, make sure that the online, your mobile is away, so that you can give your time 100% to the people in front of you rather than you getting on your screens all the time. So I always say this because if you see your Facebook, okay, or any piece of content that you put in, the people who are commenting on it are mostly your friends whom you have connected somewhere at least once in the offline world. And so the way this thing works is it works together. You cannot expect to have only an online presence without any offline connections, without any kind of networking, and expect this thing to work. And so the offline as well as online, it has to work in tandem for it to have any kind of effect. So make sure that when you are out there in the offline world connecting, you stay away from the online world. Okay, so that was my journey in short. And before I go, if you still don't know what you're posting about, tomorrow at 10 p.m. Join me, Mala, and Dr. Roxanne on Instagram, and we are going to have a short, informal chat. And we are going to be doing this Activa Pronto Instagram Reel Challenge, wherein we will be talking about a little bit of Instagram, right? And the task for that particular challenge is it's a contest, and you need to make a innovative, creative Instagram reel wherein you're actually showing Pronto to the patients in a fun way. So it is not for the dental documentation that has already happened on the Pronto group. This is for how are you going to portray it to clinically to the patients, right? And we are going to see if anybody can make a really creative reel, and they're going to be winners. I'm going to give details of this tomorrow at 10 p.m. on Instagram, and there are some very exciting prizes to be won. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to connect, these are my handles, and I'll be very happy to connect. And if you want any free resources, go ahead on my website and you can check out these free resources. It's all sitting on the free resources section of the website. And this particular course I'm going to be giving as one of the prizes tomorrow. So if anybody is really keen, then do not miss the Instagram Reel Challenge, because the Entrepreneur Story Workshop is going to be given as one of the prizes. And I'm not going to reveal the rest of the prizes. I'll leave that for tomorrow. Okay, so I like to end by saying that every interaction in any form is actually branding, which is given by Seth Godin. Thank you so much for staying right up till the end. If there are any queries, I'll get to the comments now. Thank you so much.
Dr. Zainab, do we have any of the questions? I think, Anisa, we would also probably take the questions tomorrow. Let's wait up for the doctors to listen to this enriching hour that we have given out to them. Thank you so much. Your presentations are always to the point, and I think it's very, very interesting for the dentist to get an overview of the social media entire platform from a dentist's perspective, and I think that was achieved today. I'm always a big fan of the presentation, but like I mentioned earlier, it's the challenge that really gets me excited, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of dentists excited who have heard up and will continue to hear you up in the next 24 hours before you get on live again. I am very, very keen to see how the dentists take up this wonderful challenge that you've put out. I think in the fashion world, what Chanel is, in the social media world, Instagram and Insta Reels is. It is trending, and how. So I think the challenge is absolutely bang on. This would be one of the most interesting things to note, and I think Pronto is going to get a beef up like we have not seen earlier. So thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Everybody, it's 10 p.m. Again, it will be a Facebook Live. It will be from Dr. Anisa's Insta channel handle, and will be relayed also on our Facebook page. Thank you so much, all of you, and thank you, Dr. Anisa. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. We'll
Thank you.
answer all the questions, which can also be posted on the Facebook group as well tomorrow.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure, Mala. And you, as always, you are super kind. And I don't know how to thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure entirely.
Thank you.
A very good evening to everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.